How much do you love yourself? Because if you understand the value of self-love, you'll never be friends with those type of people. Most of the people that are here are running around empty. They have no sense of self, no sense of self-love. When I say self-love, it has nothing to do with celebrity, money, materialistic things. And of all the things that you could probably go to, has nothing to do with self-love, has nothing to do with looks, nothing to do with cars and any of the superficial things that one would assume that can make you love yourself even more. It's a matter of knowing your value.
Hey guys, so this is the Rachel and I podcast, where today our topic is talking about love. So the question that we all have for you guys today is, are you really in love or in love with the idea of love? So let's begin. This past week, it's been on my mind on what true love is. I've been speaking to several people. It seems it is somewhat common to confuse real love with the idea of being in love. So I thought today we could delve into a little deeper into what this means and how to avoid confusing those feelings and the love. So Rachel, what is true love? Do you think true love is?
Well, Kat, I think that true love is different for everyone. It can look different and come in many different forms. But I think if we try and find a basic definition of what true love is knowing your value, knowing the value of the person you love, and fighting every day to keep that love alive.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think previously I would say to myself that I thought I knew what love was. Going through stages just recently, like I said, this past week, I thought that I was in love. Then to figure out that, I think I was in love with the idea of being in love. I feel like when you surround yourself around, social media and images and YouTube videos and, Netflix and all these love stories, you kind of train your brain to be like, oh, I want that. I want that type of love. I want this, I want that. But that's not really what true love is it?
No. And I think we need to remember that love isn't a feeling. The feelings of love come later, and they're a result of true love. It's not just feelings on its own. It is actions, and it is work, and it is a getting to know of yourself and the other person.
Yeah, no, I completely agree to that too. What does it mean to be in love with the idea of being in love?
Again, I think that looks different for a lot of people, but I think a lot of times people are looking for the fantasy. They're looking for the butterflies in the stomach, and they're looking for someone that they can look at and just get excited, and all the romance and all that.
Do all those lovey-dovey things
Yeah.
that you'll see on like TVs and TV shows and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people watch all those movies and they see all the romance of it all, and the feelings and the things that they do, and they want that, but they don't see that underlying trait and truth behind it all of what they actually do to get that love. Is it comes with actions and work and commitment.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I feel like a number of things as well, like falling deeply, but not with the person themselves. I feel like, yeah, you fall head over heels for them so deeply, but you don't really realize that your brain's only doing that, really, not because you truly love them, but it's because you want the idea of love so badly.
Yeah, and I think that's really evident in what people call like the honeymoon stage, and that's that fun part of all the feelings and the excitement, where they found that fairy tale. But then when all of that calms down and that person in a way becomes old news there, and every day they're always there, to a lot of people it can sometimes get boring because they haven't taken the time to actually fall in love with that person and find what true love really is. And they start to see the other person's flaws and their own flaws, and that's what comes...
kind of breaks the relationship.
Yeah, and that becomes the focus because all the excitement has worn off a bit, but now they're actually seeing the true reality of love and where they're at.
So what would you recommend, possibly, to find that true love path and things like that? Would you recommend to, don't delve into things so quickly, and definitely get to know them would be one thing?
Yeah, and I think for me, on my journey of finding my love, is I had to learn to love myself. I had to learn to enjoy my company and accept all my flaws, get to know my flaws, and really just work on myself so that I wasn't looking at that excitement in someone else. I was happy in me, and that was attractive to my partner. And in turn, you can then fall in love with them and see them for who they really are, because they're confident and they're being themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a big thing as well, because people fall in love and then they don't seem to, learn to self-love, learn to be in their own company, and because they don't love themselves, as soon as a person comes along and they show love to them, even if it could be literally just 10% of love, and they feel like it's the whole world to them because they don't love themselves. And so I feel like a big thing before stepping into that I want to be in love stage and actually know what love is, you should really focus on self-love, such as like taking yourself out on dates by yourself. And yes, that could be very dreading and very, very, very nerve-wracking and scary.
Yeah, it can be.
And, well, from my past experience, I've recently just took myself out on a date because I really wanted to learn to have my own confidence and, be content with being alone. And I actually had a really good time. People didn't stare at me, guys, just letting you guys know. I was at a coffee shop. No one really stares. No one really cares what you're doing. I mean, you may occasionally get the one creep guy that comes up to you and says, "Are you alone?" And you just be like, "Yeah, I'm alone. I have a good book. I'm reading a good book." And you'll start to realize that some people will come up to you and say, "Oh, hi," and have an actual conversation with you, and you meet new people just by building that confidence and learning that self-love. But obviously for your first date, don't go, to a bar by yourself. Definitely, ease into it, even if it's just taking yourself on a picnic, I highly recommend, yeah. And also journaling. Journaling is a big thing. I struggle with that myself, trying to figure out of what to journal about. But literally, don't so fixate on the concept of journaling. I feel like it really helps if, just say you're watching TV and something comes to your mind. If you got your phone next to you, just write it.
And don't think about what you're writing, just write what comes. And I think a good thing about journaling too is you get to know yourself more, and you get to... It's a good outlet to let it out. And as you're writing it, your brain thinks about what you're writing, and it helps you kind of process it through your head and work through whatever you're thinking about. and you get to know yourself and the way you feel and how you think in such a different light. Just by writing it and letting your mind work through it. Even if what you write doesn't always make sense, it's getting it out on paper just to get it out of your head and then letting your mind process it after that.
Yeah. Even when you go back like months later and read through your journal entries, and you'll be like, why was I even thinking that? But yeah, so what other self-love things do you recommend, Rach?
I think that a good thing is to, again, I think I kind of touched on this, but it's to get to know yourself. It's to learn your flaws, learn what you love, learn what you don't, learn how you react to situations and how you like to deal with conflict, day-to-day things. Because the more you know yourself, the more someone else can get to know you. And if you don't know who you are, then no one else will. And I think it's a really important step to not only love yourself, but know yourself and know your value, know who you are, who you want to be. And then that way, when you find love, that person will be able to fall in love with you because you are who you want to be. And, you know, you can work together on, you know, building and expanding from that. But at least they will know who you are because you do. And I think a lot of people are so focused on just living life and finding someone
to live it with
that then it almost becomes that you rely on that person for validation and to be who you are. But they aren't who you are. You are your own person. Even when you're in a relationship or anything like that, you are your own person. And you have your own likes and dislikes. And they could be very different to the other person. But you can only actually put those two different people together if they both know who they are and they're happy to, you know, work together and love each other for who they are.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that's another really, really big thing is, guys, be happy being single. Don't be depressed about it and, you know, keep searching. Oh, I want to search for the love of my life. And, you know, like I said, like, I've been there. I've been like, okay, I really, 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 really want a relationship. But I've never really, you know, taken the time to kind of like invest in figuring out who I am, self-loving myself, and then falling in love, like, the right way. And,
but it's so true.
And it's accidental as well. Like, you would be surprised that when you learn to self-love and you surround yourself by people that also self-love themselves, how easy it is to meet someone as well.
It's so true. I mean, so many people told me while I was growing up that, you know, love yourself first and other people will get attracted to you and love you back. And I used to think that was ridiculous. How did any of that go together? But it is so true. Like, as a single mum, I just wanted someone to love me and look after me and my kid and have a family. I didn't want to be single. But it wasn't until I accepted that I was single and actually enjoyed it and owned it, and learned to love myself, and it was just me and my son, and it wasn't until we were happy and we were confident and we knew who we were and we were ourselves and we loved ourselves that we actually then found someone. A lot of people will come and go, but they won't necessarily be your true love until, you know, you've loved yourself first.
And honestly, I think Rachel's the only person that can vouch for that. I mean, you know, being married now, have been through a lot of situations with, you know, previously trying to, not knowing that she did not love herself, and then, you know, trying to find somebody so badly, and then she ended up loving herself first, and then she ends up finding the love of her life.
I think an important thing to not confuse too is loving yourself isn't just being confident and shoving it in other people's faces. It's just being content and just knowing your value in yourself. It doesn't have to be an overconfidence. it doesn't have to be in everyone's face. It just has to be a quiet contentment in yourself.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with who I am right now.
Yeah.
And I'm confident with who I am right now. I'm not confident to the point where it's like, I'm confident, you can just shut the fuck up.
No, because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, agreed. Alright, well, let's end it there, guys. So if you guys have any questions, and any, because this is our first podcast, if you guys have any questions, any recommendations on topics that we should talk about, please jot it down in the comments, and we'd love to hear from you, and hope you guys liked it. Rach, any words?
Not really. Go and find ways to love yourself.
And yes, please
find
put
your
those
value
in the comments so we know some more.
If you have anything to add to this, definitely put it down in the comments. We would love to hear other people's point of views on this subject, as we don't know everything. This is just what we've learnt in our lives.
Yeah. Okay, bye everybody.